I said that out of all the people, what happened last weekend, they didn't really like it wouldn't even really mess with him because he was so far back that like he didn't race Jet. And Cooper's the type of person that just get mad anyway. Like he mad when he wins. So Cooper Webb was gonna be Cooper Webb. Like nothing was going to change that. So the heat race comes by and he's up there and he's watching Eli, do his thing and trying to pull away. It's kind of cool to watch like the personalities of each rider, right? Like you got Eli trying to prove that he's in speed, and then you got Chase Sexton, same thing, trying to prove it in speed, and Jet Lawrence trying to show everybody like it doesn't matter what you do. And then you got this guy, Cooper Webb. And he ain't really doing anything. He's just there. And you watch him and the main event and in the heat race, like you see Eli, turn down for it, and you just watching Cooper, and he's like, but he's still there. Like he's just still there. And it ain't like he's going through whoops because they wasn't no whoops. It wasn't like he was jumping anything because they ain't nothing. And then I said people get frustrated when they watch Cooper Webb and because they don't realize they don't understand what he's doing. And this weekend was a perfect example of that. So in the heat race, Jet gets by him. Cooper knew he had it. And so Cooper just kind of rolls out on the outside. Now, it could, from the angle, maybe you can look at, did Cooper think that Jet ran it in on him? Because it looks like a point where I think Jet was going to go to the inside and it has to straighten up to catch that middle rut. And Cooper thought he was going to go to the inside. So I think he was starting to lean in that left-handed corner and Jet was going to that middle rut. Maybe that part startled Cooper or whatnots. I don't think it was anything like he was running in on him, but maybe it's like Jason Anderson getting my airspace. Whoop. So then they're going down the rhythm section and then they get off timing. So and Cooper ends up hitting him. Well, I think with knowing Cooper, knowing the situation, and when you got a guy like Jet Lawrence, one thing you have to do if you can't beat him on speed, you just rough him up. Like you have to stop him. It was what people used to do to Eli Tomac. It used to work for a while. When beast mode come, well, you ain't going to start going 2 seconds faster, but what you can do is stop him from going 2 seconds faster by getting in his way and frustrate him that way. So I can see how it could easily look like a mistake. Cooper overjumps that triple and then he runs into Jet Lawrence because people have this narrative that the only way you can stop him is by hitting him. I don't think Cooper did anything purposely. I think they got off rhythm. And even if Cooper was upset that he thought maybe Jet ran it in on him, not saying Cooper even thought that, but just going down that road, it was still, he wasn't going to take him out in that corner. Like he knew once they got off rhythm and Jet doubled, single going to that, Cooper tripled into that. Even if he wanted to run in and just like, rev the motorcycle up, maybe he was going to do that, but there was no way he was actually going to hit that dude in that corner because that was something that, one, it was going to T-bone and get hurt. And I don't think Cooper, even if he wanted to hit Jet in that heat race, I think Cooper would have done it in the main event if he was going to do anything. But Cooper Webb wouldn't do it there. Like if he's going to stuff the dude and knock him down, Cooper Webb ain't like he might be aggressive, but he ain't stupid. Like he ain't trying to hurt somebody. So he knew by if he did it there, likelihood he might actually hurt dude. And that's not the way he goes about his business. Cooper Webb overjumps that triple. Jet goes on the inside because he's the thought of what Cooper might do to him. He dive bombs on that inside. He's trying to shut it down, and then they end up hitting, and then Cooper falls over. But nonetheless, I think it was more of a situation what happened with Cooper Webb and Jason Anderson last year at Phoenix when he overjumped the triple going in the corner. And when you overjump it, the problem is it was almost like that landing was flat. Like once you overjump it, it was so flat that when Cooper hits, the bike bounces up. And when the bike bounces up, then he can't stop. So even though he's on the brakes, he's kind of up in the air and more sliding, and he hits Jet. And that's why I think it was just more of a circumstance. So no big deal. But then the main event comes, and my whole point about Cooper Webb and why it was so frustrating racing him for everybody else is because Jet Lawrence, it's when you watch him or you watch Chase Sexton or you watch Eli Tomac and then you watch Cooper Webb, there's a different riding style, one on all of them, but the three that I just mentioned, Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, you can visually see what they're doing. You can see where they're going faster. Where Cooper Webb, you can't see that. And as I go back to, and I said, out of all the things that happened last weekend, Cooper Webb was like that even kill person. Like it's gonna take a lot for him to be stopped. I think the only thing that would stop Cooper Webb is there's something in his program that he doesn't believe in that allows him to be Cooper Webb. It ain't gonna be what Jet Lawrence is doing to him or Eli Tomac. The dude's too one mentally strong to the point to where he kind of just knows his place, like he knows his lane. He knows maybe necessarily he's not the fastest. He knows necessarily he ain't gonna jump that, but he knows at the end of the day, out of all that being said, I'm gonna still win. Like I can still win. That's why you get a guy that can get back when he was winning the championship. That's why Cooper Webb can be like 13th fastest in practice, get his doors blown off in the heat race, and then come out and just wax y'all in the main event. That's the guy. And because he just knows. And when the other guys, he knows with them that if they're not doing one certain thing, then he can get to them. Or the guys, if Chase is not fast, that's okay. That's an issue with him. Where Cooper, you don't really know what it bothers him. So again, it wouldn't be Jet. It would be something that happens with Cooper. And when we go back to the KTM stuff, when I was like, he fell over like a wet noodle, that was happening because Cooper Webb didn't believe in what he had, whatever was going on with the team. Like he didn't show up at the gate feeling like he was Cooper Webb. Well, I don't see that this year. So no matter what everybody else does, like I knew he was still going to be there. And case in point, after all that stuff that was happening, how fast Chase was and how good Eli was in the heat race and how Jet has been so dominant, Cooper Webb's still like right there. The difference is Jet didn't make any mistakes. So Cooper would have still maybe with the whoops, jumping through the whoops or finding those lines, and with the track being so pretty basic, even though it was a Cooper Webb type of track, like a nasty just hanging on, it still didn't allow him to be a full version himself. And that's why he couldn't close that gap. And I think with Cooper Webb, it was a win for him because he rode good. He knew like, well, I'll beat everybody else and I need to be back on the podium. And I still feel like I'm right here because I still feel like if I get a little bit faster and if I get improvement right here, I'm going to be trouble. So I think with him, he kind of knows his presence. And, I also think with Jet Lawrence, he knew with Cooper Webb, like he was like, all right, I'm just going to ride a pace that once I get like 3 seconds, I'm just going to stay there because I don't want to allow this guy to get any closer to me. And so it looks like Jet was managing it, which he was managing it, but he was managing it to keep Cooper just at that safe distance behind because he knew if he made any mistake, he going to have a problem. No matter how good he is and how dominant he is, he can't figure out what it is with that guy that's going to allow him to just kind of break him. Because other guys, if they can't catch him, then they're mad because they're not faster and they can't catch him. Where Cooper just ride there all day and just wear you down. And once you make a small mistake, then he's going to attack. And so what you saw was Jet realizing that and trying to manage that race. And it almost is somewhat neutralized Cooper because Jet was riding not to make a mistake to allow this dude back in. And Cooper wasn't able to actually, since Jet didn't do that, he wasn't able to sniff the bacon and get a little bit closer and then bite that thing. So it was kind of a funny race when you watch those two go. And, that's why overall Cooper Webb was a win for him because he was still right there and Jet's racing because he knows he's right there. And I think out of all the people, I think Jet realizes that he's the one that just like everybody else in the past, like he's probably going to be the toughest one because I can't break him by just a speed. And no matter how many times I beat him, it's going back to what happened last year at Houston with Chase Sexton. When Chase Sexton was 2 seconds faster than Eli, practice, worked Eli in that heat race, but Eli beat him in that main event. What that said to Eli and everybody else in that field, that no matter how much better that he is, we still can get to him, well, that's what's going on with Jet and everybody else when it comes to Cooper Webb. Because if the dude's out there rolling, and no matter how much faster I am, the dude's in the main event and he's right there, he's something to be worried about. No matter how fast or no matter what I do, he's still right there. And that was Cooper. So Cooper did a great job. And I think for him, second place, it ain't a win because he's always mad, but he's going to be solid next weekend, just like he was this weekend. So